Namaste friends. Happy New Year. Happy Ugadi. Happy Yugadi. Happy Samatsaradi. Happy Gudi Padwa to all of you. This new year is Shobhana or Shobhakrit. Different names are used by different people. Shobhana means shining, splendid, glorious, great, excellent, magnificent. And Shobhakrit means something that is causing glory or excellence. And just to give you a perspective, in the current creation, since the previous Kalaratri, 1,655,885,124 years have passed. And since the Mahabharata war, this is year 5089. And since Kali Yuga started, this is year 5124 in Kali Yuga. First an outline of the topics that I am going to cover today. I will talk about panchanga. What is panchanga? What is the significance? And what is the significance of panchanga Sravanam? And I will talk about the annual planetary cabinet. I will talk about some key transits of major planets and eclipses during this year. Give the dates so that you can do some prayers during those dates. I will also cover the standard numbers given in tradition for 12 moon signs as well as 27 and 28 Nakshatras of moon. And I will talk about the general trends during the year and give some high level results for a few nations. And then I will identify major transits, particularly good or particularly bad transits for various Janmarasis, and suggest some remedies that people can do. First about panchanga. Panchanga is pancha anga, 5 limbs of time. Tithi, vara means weekday. Nakshatra, that is moon star. Yoga, this is basically a construct based on sun and moon longitudes. And karana. So these are the 5 limbs of time. And if you look at any panchanga, it gives you tithi, vara, nakshatra, yoga, karana of the day. And they will start at a particular time in the day and they will end at a particular time in the day, and they will be given in the panchanga. So at any time you are doing something, there is a tithi, vara, nakshatra, yoga, karana associated with that particular moment in time. And Shastras say, Tithe sriyamapnoti varad ayushyavardhanam nakshatrat harate papam yogad roga nivaranam karanat karyasiddhischa panchaangasya phalam tvidam. Means, I will give it in the list here. From Tithi, we obtain prosperity. From Vara, we obtain longevity, long life. From Nakshatra, we remove our sins. From Yoga, we overcome the diseases. From Karna, we obtain success in work. And how do you do it? Some people believe that just by listening to Panchanga Sravanam or every day looking at the Panchanga of the day and say today is so-and-so Tithi, so-and-so Vara, so-and-so Nakshatra, you get all these results. That's a very simplistic view. I mean, it is good to look at the Panchanga, but really what the real meaning is that when you find a Muhurta for any activity, the Tithi of that Muhurta controls the prosperity, the Vara controls the longevity, the Nakshatra controls removal of sins, Yoga controls overcoming diseases, Karana is for success in work. So for each of these Angas there is a planet controlling it, so you have to make sure that the Tithi or Vara, Nakshatra, the corresponding Anga is auspicious, and also the planet controlling it is auspicious in that particular chart. That is basically the meaning of it. Every year there is a planetary cabinet defined in Shastras. These are called the Navanayakas, the 9 leaders of the world during that year, and there are certain results ascribed in the Shastras for that. And this is very superficial. As a matter of fact, I believe that there is a lot of corruption in this particular area. So these are not really reliable, but just for completeness, I will cover this. For this year, Raja or the king is Buddha, which means that the rulers of various countries will be scholarly, or in other words, scholarly people can rise to power during this period. And also they will be wavering in mind. They want to please everybody. So some of the qualities of Buddha will be seen in the leaders. And the mantri or minister is Shukra, Venus, which means ministers will not be the people who are advising. They will look more at entertainment, they will look more at PR, they will look more at strategical things, and they will want peace, they will not want war, etc. And also it is auspicious for women to rise to various ministerial positions or secretarial positions. And the Senadipati or army chief is Jupiter. So the commanders, the people who are fighting wars, who are controlling militaries, they'll be wise and they will want peace. They will not want unnecessary wars. Agriculture, Sasyadhipati, or for agriculture it is moon. So agriculture will face various conditions. There will be floods in some places or at some times. There will be drought in some places or at some times. So things will be inconsistent for the agriculture. And the Dhanyadipati, the ruler of the grains, is Shani. So various grains, it will be difficult for them to grow during this year. And prices, Arghadipati, or the controller of prices, is Jupiter Guru. So the prices will keep increasing. So inflation will be pretty high during this year. And rains, Varshadipati, Meghadipati, the controller of the rains during this year is also Guru. So there will be a lot of rains during this year. And the Rasadipati, who controls the non-dry or juicy commodities, is Buddha. And Nirasadipati, the one who controls the dry commodities, is Chandra. So all kinds of commodities there will be variability in their availability in terms of the supply. There will be supply chain issues with various commodities, and things will be, sometimes there is too much availability, sometimes there is too little availability. Things will be inconsistent during this year. The priest for this year, Purohita, is Chandra. So again, priests will be wavering in their mind, and they will be one day they will be doing very nice pujas, another day they will be distracted, and so on. Priests will be very wavering during this year. Parikshaka or examiner is Surya. So examiners will be very strict and authoritative. Accountant or Ganaka is Mars, Angaraka. So there may be some fights and quarrels relating to accounting issues during this year. And the Grama Palaka, or the local rulers, is Venus. So people who rule at the local level are very strategic, very diplomatic, etc. The Jyotisha or Daivagna or astrologer for this year is Guru. So astrologers will make good predictions during this year. They will be very wise and they will get things right this year. I hope that's true for me. And there are some additional members given in the planetary cabinet for vehicles. Ashwadhipati, or for normal vehicles it is Shukra. For Gajadhipati, or for luxury vehicles, it is Chandra. So normal vehicles will be in good supply and there will be a lot of options available. But with respect to luxury vehicles, there will be some good vehicles available, but the supply will be wavering. It will be inconsistent. And Pashunam Adhipati is Guru, so it's a good year for animals. Devadhipati is Chandra. So gods will be difficult to please. Sometimes they are easy to please, sometimes they are difficult to please. It is inconsistent. So you have to just work hard at your prayers. Naradhipati and Strinam Adhipati for men and women is Jupiter. So men and women will be wise during this year. Grama Nayaka is Sun. So people who are leading at the local level, not ruling but leading public opinion, are controlled by Surya. So there are very strong and charismatic local leaders rising during this time. Vastradhipati is Buddha. So there will be a lot of creativity, lot of variety available in clothes during this year. And for various gems, Ratna Adhipati is Shukra. So various gems will be nicely available and they will be expensive, and there will be nice designs available, aesthetic designs available with gems. Vrikshadipati is Shani. This is a bad year for trees and in general for environment. This is not a good year for environment. For Vyaparadhipati is Guru. So for businesses, this is a good year. Businesses will keep doing well. And for employment, it is Venus. So the unemployment issue that we see now is just a blip. Based on this, is just a blip, and things will pick up pretty soon in the year. And the Pashupalaka during this year is Balrama, so it's a good year for animals, domestic animals. Again, as I said, all these have to be taken with a pinch of salt. These are not really 100% reliable. And let me identify some key transits during this year so that you can do some prayers around those times. Jupiter moves from Meena to Mesha, from Pisces to Aries on April 17. So around that time, it doesn't have to be on that day, but around that time you can pray to Jupiter and you can benefit from that. And Rahu, he moves reverse from Aries to Pisces, from Mesha to Meena on 2023 December 14. So around that time you can pray to Rahu or Durga. And Ketu, again, Rahu and Ketu move together. So Ketu on the same day moves from Tula to Kanya, from Libra to Virgo. And stationary transits are very important. Planets are, with respect to Earth, even though planets are going in one direction around Sun, because Earth is also going, with respect to Earth, it may seem like they are going forward and backward at various times with respect to Earth. So, when planets are moving forward, it is basically a state of forward and backward. These are states of Rajas and Tamas, whereas the transition point, when the planet slows down and reverses the direction, at that time it's called to be stationary. It is basically zero speed or very close to zero speed. So that is, the planet is in a sattvic state. It is kind of like when your mind is still, you can focus well and do things better. Similarly, a stationary planet, it can activate the points, it aspects, or it touches in your own horoscope. So stationary planets are very important. They can trigger important events in life based on what they come in contact with respect to your Janma Chakra. So during these stationary transit dates, you can, around a few days or week before or after that, you can pray to that planet. So Jupiter is stationary on 2023 September 4. So he is direct till then, he goes backward then retrograde, and then on December 30 he becomes direct again. So this is the other stationary transit date. For Shani, June 17 and November 4, these are the stationary transit dates. So around those days you can pray to those planets. And some key planetary associations during this year. Sun and Rahu are conjoined on 2023 April 24. So this is not an auspicious conjunction because Sun and Rahu are enemies and he causes eclipse. And you can, again, I'll try to do some videos for at least some of these conjunctions so that I can tell you what prayers to do. But in general, you can pray to Sun, you can pray to Shiva, you can pray to Dakshinamurti during this time. And Saturn-Mars conjunction, Samsaptaka. Saturn-Mars opposition or Samsaptaka occurs on July 20. So because they show opposing forces of restraint and aggression, this is an interesting time. It is possible that there will be some aggression, some tensions building in the world, particularly with respect to China around this time. So, and of course, depending on your own horoscope, what Saturn and Mars show in your horoscope, and what points in your Janma Chakra they are touching during that Samsaptaka, they can give some interesting results to you also, good or bad. So, you can pray to various devatas, but perhaps Anjaneya or Narasimha. And Saturn Sun Samsaptaka occurs on August 27. And again, even though they are son and father, Saturn is the sun and sun is the father. They are enemies. Sun shows ego, whereas Saturn shows humility. So they are contrasting planets. So this can be problematic. This can show some political tensions in the world, and again, based on your horoscope, it can give you some good or bad results. So during that time, you can pray to Sun and Saturn. And Mars Ketu conjunction occurs on October 4, and because both of them, Mars shows aggression and Ketu shows explosive events and headlessness, this can show some explosive events in the world. So around that time, you can pray to Subramanya or Narasimha. And Sun Ketu conjunction occurs on October 18. And again, because these are enemies and Ketu causes eclipse of Sun, this is a problematic conjunction. And around that time, you can pray to Shiva or Dakshinamurti or Jagannatha. And Saturn-Sun conjunction occurs on February 28 of next year. And again, because they are enemies, previous one was Samsaptaka and this is conjunction, Yuti. They are together. So again, during this time, you can pray to Saturn and Sun. And finally, Saturn-Mars conjunction occurs on April 10, and this is very problematic. Actually, New Year occurs very close to the exact conjunction, the next New Year. So that is very problematic. So you can pray to Narasimha or Anjaneya during that time. And Maudhyam or combustion. Guru Maudhyam occurs from March 29 till April 30. And Shukra Maudhyam or combustion of Venus occurs between August 7 and 17. Pushkaras. Pushkaras will be observed from April 22. The actual day should be April 17. But because everybody uses calculations that were standardized by a bureaucrat named Lahiri, who was a friend of Nehru, just to standardize the festivals, Nehru appointed a committee with him. And this person who did not know any astrology standardized things, and astrologers used that. So as a result, people use the date April 22, but the real date is April 17. So Pushkaras are observed from that date. And the Pushkaras this year are for Ganga River, Ganga Nadi. So those who are living close to Ganga can take benefit during this time. They can take bath in Ganga. Very auspicious. There are a few eclipses. One important word. Lunar eclipses are important and should be observed if they are visible in your area where you live. Whereas solar eclipse is effective irrespective of where you live. Even if it's not visible where you are, it is still effective. It basically has to do with the fact that moon corresponds to mind and sun corresponds to soul. So mind level connection requires some vicinity, whereas soul level connection is basically all the souls in the whole world are connected. So it is basically the range is much higher for the soul than mind. So it is based on that concept. But bottom line is, so for solar eclipse, even if it's not visible in your area, do follow it. And you can do some prayers, you can do japa, you can do homa, you can take advantage of it for spiritual progress. In general, eclipses are good for kamya sadhana as well as moksha sadhana. In other words, you want something and you want to get it. So sadhanas like that, and you want to get moksha. You want to basically become free from wants. So for that, eclipses are useful, because Ketu shows moksha and Rahu shows kama. On the other hand, for dharmic work, sun and moon are the eyes of the cosmic Purusha, and they are weakened during eclipse. So for dharmic work, for dharmic sadhanas relating to dharma is not really a good time. So that is why temples are closed. But for individual fulfillment of desires or overcoming of desires, this is a great time, fantastic time to do sadhana. According to some shastras, sadhana done during eclipse is 1,000 times more effective. And also shastras say that homa is 10 times more effective than japa. So if you do homa during eclipse, it is 10,000 times more effective. So anyways, so in terms of eclipses, there is an eclipse on 2023 May 5th/6th. On 5th at 8:44 p.m. in Indian Standard Time it will start, and on the next day when the date changes at 1:02 a.m. it will end. And this is visible in India, but not visible in US or much of Europe. And this affects the people of Swati Nakshatra and Vishakha Nakshatra as well as Tula Rasi in general. So they should be extra careful during that time. Again, keep in mind that our knowledge of assessing the impact of eclipses on people is very limited. For example, I made a video in October about the eclipses, and some of the things that I mentioned about individuals did not really pan out. So we know that our principles are not really reliable, but there's no harm in being careful. So if these are your nakshatras and rasis, be extra careful. And there is a partial lunar eclipse on 2023 October 28, 29. So basically 28th night. Again, in terms of Indian Standard Time, it starts at 1:05 a.m. and ends at 2:23 a.m. Again, it's not visible in US. And it affects particularly people of Ashwini Nakshatra and Mesh Rasi. And there is a penumbral lunar eclipse on 2024 March 25, 26, 25th night. Again, this is, by the way, visible in US but not in India. So in Eastern Daylight Saving Time on the US East Coast, this is from 12:53 a.m. till 5:32 a.m. And this particularly affects people of Ashwini and Ashwini Nakshatra and Mesh Rasi. And there are also 3 solar eclipses during the year. There is an annular total solar eclipse on 2023 April 20. It is from 7:05 a.m. to 12:29 p.m. in Indian Standard Time. And on the US East Coast time, it is April 19th night 9:35 p.m. till 2:59 a.m. And this affects people of Ashwini Nakshatra and Mesh Rasi. And there is an annular solar eclipse on October 14 night. In terms of Indian Standard Time, it starts at 8:34 p.m. ends at 2:25 a.m. And on US East Coast, this is 11:04 a.m. to 4:55 p.m. on October 14. This particularly affects people of Chitra Nakshatra and Tula Rasi. And there is a total solar eclipse. This is a big one. There is a total solar eclipse on April 8th or 9th. This is basically just before Ugadi, the next new year. It is from 9:12 p.m. till 2:22 a.m. in Indian Standard Time on April 8th night. On US East Coast, it is April 8th morning or around noon time, 11:42 a.m. till 4:52 p.m. So most of the afternoon. Again, I will make videos on this later, exactly where it is visible, etc. But the thing is, even if it's not visible where you are, you can take precautions. You can do sadhana, and if a lady is pregnant, it's a good idea to basically stay home and think of God during that time. And this particularly affects people of Revati Nakshatra and Meena Rasi. Now, I will give some standard numbers given in Shastras, Adayam, Vyayam, Rajapujyam, Avamanam, etc. for various Rasis and various Nakshatras. And I always, even though you may have heard this before, I like to give this disclaimer every time. Readings based on moon sign and moon star are not reliable. See, there aren't just 12 or 27 or 28 different fortunes in the world. Even twins who are born 2 minutes or 3 minutes apart can have totally different fortunes. And depending on, basically Rishis, even though many astrologers use only Rashi chart, which is the same for everybody born in 2-hour window, or Navamsha chart, which is the same for everybody born in a 14-minute window, Rishis have taught 16 different charts. And you have a unique person being born every 24 seconds. So even twins can be different. So just looking at the Rasi or Nakshatra, you can't really deduce somebody's fortune. So, but the thing is, Jyotish has macro aspects and micro aspects. Because macro aspects can be covered to large set of people, they are given in Shastras, and we do it for Panchanga Sravanas because we can't give readings to thousands of people. So we will do that. So macro aspects do have a purpose, but you have to take it with a pinch of salt. In other words, if a particular thing is has a probability of 1 over, let's say, 10 million, for people of a particular Rasi, it may be 1 over 10,000 or 1 over 100,000. So it is much more likely for people of a particular Rasi than everybody in general, but it's not guaranteed. And for that, you have to look at your own individual chart. So keep that in mind and take these numbers with a pinch of salt. Your own horoscope, your dashas, your annual charts can greatly alter this. Okay, now some standard numbers. Adayam, Vyayam, Rajapujyam, Avamanam. I'll give all those 4 numbers for each Rasi. For Mesha Rasi or Aries, which is Ashwini, Bharani and Kritika Ashpadam, Adayam 5, Vyayam 5, Rajabhujyam 3, Avamanam 1. For Taurus or Vrishabha Rasi, which is Kritika 2nd, 3rd and 4th padas, Rohini, Mrigasira 1st and 2nd padas, Adayam 14, Vyayam 11, Rajabhujyam 6, Avamanam 1. For Gemini or Mithun Rasi, Mrigasira 3rd and 4th padam, Ardra, Purnosu 1st, 2nd and 3rd padam, Adayam 2, Vyayam 11, Rajabhujyam 2, Avamanam 4. For Karka Rasi or Cancer sign, which is Purnosu 4th padam, Pushyami and Ashiresha, Adayam 11, Vyayam 8, Rajabhujyam 5, Avamanam 5. For Leo sign or Simha Rasi people, which is Magha, Puraphalguni, Uttaraphalguni 1st padam, 14 Adayam 2 Vyayam, Rajabhujyam 1, Avamanam 7. For Virgo sign or Kanya Rasi, which is Uttaraphalguni 2nd, 3rd and 4th padas, Hasta, Chitra 1st and 2nd padas. For them, Adayam 2, Vyayam 11, Rajabhujyam 4, Avamanam 7. For Libra sign or Tula Rasi people, which is Chitra 3rd and 4th padam, Swati, Vishaka 1st, 2nd and 3rd padam. For them, 14 is Adayam, 11 is Vyayam, Rajabhujyam 7, Avamanam 7. For Scorpio sign or Vrishchika Rasi people, which is Vishaka 4th padam, Anuradha Jashtha, Adayam and Vyayam are both 5, Rajabhujyam and Avamanam are both 3. For Sagittarius sign or Dhanu Rasi people, which is Mula, Purvashadha, Uttarashadha 1st padam, Adayam and Vyayam are 8 and 11, Rajabhujyam and Avamanam are 6 and 3. For Capricorn or Makara Rasi people, which is Uttarashadha 2nd, 3rd and 4th padam, Shravanam, Dhanishta 1st and 2nd padam, Adayam is 11, Vyayam is 5, Rajabhujyam is 2, Avamanam is 6. For Aquarius sign or Kumbha Rasi people, which is Dhanishta 3rd and 4th padam, Satabhishak and Purabhadra 1st, 2nd and 3rd padam. For them, Adayam is 11, Vyayam is 5, Rajabhujyam is 5 and Avamanam is 6. For Pisces or Meena Rasi people, which is Purabhadra 4th padam, Uttarabhadra and Revati, Adayam is 8, Vyayam is 11, Rajabhujyam is 1, Avamanam is 2. So these are the standard numbers. Now I'll give you Kandaya Phalas. These are standard numbers based on the 27 Nakshatras. So if you know your Nakshatra, you can see these numbers. The way you see is there are 3 numbers given for each Nakshatra. Some people think that these are the 3 numbers for the 3 parts of the year, 4 month, 4 month, 4 month each. But they are actually for body, mind and soul. And ideally you're supposed to see them from the star of Lagna, star of moon, star of sun. So if you know your Lagna star, moon star and sun star, you basically use them. Use the Lagna star and get number 1 for that star. Use your moon star and get the 2nd column number for that nakshatra. Use your sun star, get the 3rd column number for that nakshatra. And Lagna, moon and sun show body, mind and soul. So it is basically from with respect to those. Odd numbers are good, even numbers are moderate, average, 0 means bad. So that is how you see it. So if based on the Lagna Nakshatra, if the first number is bad, it means physical problems, health, ill health, etc. At the level of mind, we are talking about happiness, unhappiness, anxiety, etc. So if you get a 0 there, for example, in 2nd column, it means there is anxiety, etc. And at the level of soul, it basically is very serious problems because soul controls everything. So I'll give you the numbers, and if you, of course, if you don't know your Lagna star and Sun star, you can just use Moon star and see all the 3 numbers for it, even though that's not what it was meant to be originally. So Ashwini 114, Bharani 424, Kritika 702, Rohini 210, Mrigasira 523, Ardra 001, Punarvasu 314, Pushyami 622, Ashresha 100, Magha 413, Purva Phalguni, also known in Telugu as Pubba, 721, Uttara Phalguni, also known as Uttara, 204, Hasta 512, Chitra 020, Swati 303, Vishakha 611, Anuradha 124, Jyeshtha 402, Mula 710, Purvashadha 223, Uttarashadha 501, Shravanam 014, Dhanistha 322, Satabhishak 600, Purvabhadra 111, Uttarabhadra 421, Revati 704. Apart from this, based on the 28 nakshatras, which includes Abhijit, there are results given based on Sarvatopada Chakra for basically you have 4 nakshatras each in the 4 directions, so 7, 7, 7, 7. So for each of those 4 nakshatras there is a result given. So for Ashwini, Pushyami, Pushya, Swati and Abhijit, the result given is quarrels. For Bharani, Asresha, Visakha and Savanam, the result given is Abharanam, jewelry. For Kritika, Magha, Anuradha and Dhanishta, also known as Ravishta, the result given is health problems, Rogabadha. Rohini, Purphalguni, Jyeshtha, Satabhishak, the result given is good health, Arogyam, Arogya Vruddhi. Mrugasirsha, Putraphalguni, Mula, Puravahadrapada, the result given is the financial gains, Dhanasamruddhi. Ardra, Hasta, Purashada, Uttarabhadrapada, mental worries, Manastapam. Purnavasu, Chitra, Uttarashada, Revati, the result given is respect in society, Rajapujata. Now, before I go into various rasis and give specific remedies for various rasis, a few observations on general trends in the world. As I mentioned several times in the past, from early 2000s, the period 2020 to 2036 is a period of major geopolitical transformation. We are in the middle of the transformation. And if you go back in history, in 1918 there was a pandemic, the Spanish flu, and in 1930 there was a bank crisis and there was a depression, financial depression, and after that there was a world war, and in 1940s we had the world war ending in 1945. So this cycle, because the world we are living in is more connected and things happen faster, is compressed. So in 2020 we had the pandemic, and probably around 2025, 26 time frame there will be something analogous to what happened in 1930, serious financial troubles. And in 2030, 2031 time frame there will be a major war, some physical but also a lot of cyber aspects involved. So after that there will be reconstruction. So we are basically in this phase now. After the pandemic, world is struggling to find an equilibrium again. The supply demand equations and the supply chains, all those things are disrupted. So in terms of how the economy works, world is trying to find a new stability. So those corrections basically will slowly build up and create havoc towards the middle of this decade. So we are in this cycle right now. So we will see some economic disturbances, world trying to figure out a new equilibrium, but overall no crisis at this point of time. Things will the sense of things not going well will be there, but no major crisis during this year, and pandemic will be pretty much in rearview mirror at this point of time. And in general there will be a war for control over resources after the pandemic. As the world rediscovers a new equilibrium between the superpowers China, Russia and US, there will be a war, a cold war for control over the resources in the world and control over other countries, influence over other countries. And there will be a new cold war. We have already seen it in the last year or so, couple of years. The new cold war will intensify during this period. As far as US is concerned, there will be a political logjam and social unrest will continue throughout the year. There won't be much legislative progress during this year. I mentioned when I made a video on Joe Biden's inauguration, based on the chart, when I made a prediction, I said that there will be a lot of legislation made, lot of success, legislative success in the middle of 2021 last year. So that indeed happened. There were some important legislations made during that time. But I mentioned that 2023 and 2024 will be pretty bad years, very slow. And also that is confirmed by this year's chart also. So there won't be much happening legislatively. And both the extreme wing and the moderate wing of both the Republican Party and Democratic Party will be unhappy. They will think that they are getting a bad deal. So everybody is pissed off politically, and there will be a lot of social unrest in this area. And Donald Trump, he will never go away from news. He will animate both the parties. Democrats will be very unhappy at the possibility of Trump becoming president again, and at the same time, Republicans, they'll be concerned that it may be a very easy election for them, but Trump may spoil it by putting off independence. So both the parties will be animated by him and also worried by him. And my expectation is that Trump during this year, he will raise a lot of money. By the way, as I mentioned in last year's video, the legal news around him will keep tightening even this year. So he will raise a lot of money as a candidate, and my expectation is that he will not actually go through and contest in 2024. He will drop out and he will endorse the eventual winner. He will find a Republican, the next man or woman, and he will endorse that person. And there will be some natural disasters of great proportions during this year also, unfortunately. This is not a good year for respite from natural disasters. And economy will be volatile, but I don't expect a major crash during this year. The banking crisis that has happened recently, the Silicon Valley bank crisis, my expectation is that it will affect the markets for a few more weeks, because the coming eclipses of April are not really good for economy. So during this time, economy will continue to struggle, but my expectation is that it will be the government and the financial regulators will get a handle on that quickly. They may not solve the root cause, the root cause problems, but they will be successfully kicking the can down the road, postponing the problem to next year or a couple of years down the road, and they will basically give a sense of stability very soon, in a few weeks. So my expectation is that the banking crisis will be contained, and economists have been saying, actually since last year, since last spring, economists have been saying that recession is coming. And even though my overall outlook for the decade is kind of doomy, I said in my Panchanga Sravanam, my video last year, that there will be shocks, but economy will withstand those shocks. There won't be recession. And officially, we did not enter a recession in the last year. There were some downturns, but also some upturns. Economy in general held pretty well, all the shocks. My expectation is much of the same this year also. The recession that many pundits are expecting in the next few months, my expectation is it will be postponed. It will still not happen. It will seem like there will be a lot of signs of recession, like unemployment, job cuts, etc., and these banking crisis. So there will be some signs showing recession, but it will be held off. So that is, we won't officially enter recession in the coming year, in this year. That is my expectation. And there will be volatility in the stock market, but in general, markets will hold during this year. But the thing is it a good thing in the long term? I don't believe so. I think that they are taking some short-term measures which will create a much bigger problem year or two down the road. But for this year, I think things are fine. And the new Cold War with China and Russia will intensify during this year, unfortunately. As far as India is concerned, India is in a very tricky position. It's a very good position in a way, also a bad position in a way. US is courting India's friendship because US and China are the new superpowers and there is a power struggle between them. So US wants India in their corner. At the same time, India has long-term strategic relationship with Russia, and Russia are slowly getting more and more cozy with China. So India is in a tricky position. So India is navigating that well. They are navigating this Cold War between Russia, China axis and US very well. They are increasing the friendship with US and taking more part in Quad and alliances with US. But at the same time, they are not distancing Russia. At some point of time in this decade, Russia's friendship with China will make it untenable for India to depend on Russia. So at some time, that relation may sour, but it's not souring yet, and India is managing a very good job keeping both Russia and US happy. And I expect that they will do the same, continue to do the same during this year. And I believe that based on the Navamsa of the annual charts, I expect that India's international stature will continue to increase. It will increase further during this year. At the same time, there will be a concerted last-ditch all-out effort to dethrone Modi in 2024, Narendra Modi in 2024. There will be attempts to cause social unrest in India, and there will be an international propaganda with lot of local elements playing along that basically paints a picture of democracy dying in India, all the constitution not being followed in India, lot of religious tensions in India. So there will be a propaganda. They will paint a picture in local and international media of an India that is falling apart, and they will try to affect the elections in 2024. It will get really ugly during the coming year, because if you look at India's chart, India's Lagna is Vrishabha. In the 12th house, there will be Guru Chandala Yoga. Guru and Rahu will be together. So that shows hidden enemies. 12th house is hidden enemies. So people who are, you are not directly fighting blow to blow, who are trying to undermine you. So that will be very big this year, very ugly. But I expect that it will not be successful. Particularly for Narendra Modi ji and Amit Shah ji, the current year from September 2022 to September 2023 is an average year, good to mixed to good year. But 2023 September to 2024 September is a fantastic year for them. So I think they will really succeed during that time. And BJP will have mixed to positive luck in state elections this year. There will be some success also, some failures, but overall positive, mixed to positive. And Rajiv Gandhi, based on Rajiv Gandhi's chart, the Bharat Jodo Yatra that he undertook will not really result in any tangible benefits for the Congress party. And as a matter of fact, I said many years back that Rajiv Gandhi will never become the Prime Minister of India. He doesn't really have a fortunate chart. As a matter of fact, if Congress really wants to make progress, they should ditch Rajiv Gandhi and find somebody else to lead them, because he doesn't have the right horoscope. As far as opposition leaders, other leaders are concerned, Sri Arvind Kejriwal's good time, I said in last year's video also that till mid 2023 he has a good time. So that is ending in this June-July time frame. So his fall may start later this year. He may get in some serious trouble. And Miss Mamata Banerjee, her good time ended a few months back. So her fall along the lines of Uddhav Thackeray's fall in Maharashtra cannot be ruled out this year. It's a possibility this year and the next year. And in Andhra Pradesh state, Jagan will be more focused on the elections and increase his PR, public relations efforts, and they will work basically. They will have some impact. Some sections of the intelligentsia may not be impressed, but a majority of the mass may be impressed with his PR efforts. So he will start putting his good foot forward, his best foot forward. And he may also make peace with BJP during this year, so that he doesn't get in trouble for next year's elections. And Sri Kalvakonda Chandrasekhar Rao, KCR, of Telangana Chief Minister, he will face severe challenges during this year. This is not really a great year for him, but at the same time, this doesn't have chances of him losing power or a complete fall like some other leaders. So I believe that he will survive politically and he will be re-elected. His party will be re-elected this year. And in general, Indian economy will continue to do better than much of the world. In general, world economy will be facing lot of struggles, so up and down. That will be the pattern. Indian economy will be in general more resilient than the rest of the world, and that is what I predicted for last year, and that did hold true, and that is what I expect for this year also. Now China's bold and aggressive moves to secure the number one position, the numero uno position in the world in future will continue, and it will keep poking US and NATO in the eye, and there will be more tension in the South China Sea, particularly around July 2023. By the way, in last year's Ugadi video, I said that there may be a war in Taiwan region. That did not pan out, but later, actually before October, I made another video where I took a closer look and I said that war is several years away. there will be more tensions basically building up. So that is basically what I expect. I'm not expecting a war. The actual war relating to Taiwan is several years down the road, closer to 2030. But at this time, there will be more tension between China and US. There will be some developments during that time that will make people worried, but in the end, it will pan out okay. But the key thing is, these continued developments will make China and US further and further apart as we go march towards 2030. And China will increase its influence across the world. And the economic and military alliance with Russia, I mentioned in last year's video that they will become a close alliance, and that has happened, and that will strengthen during this year. And I expect a major natural disaster in China during this year. And for Chinese economy, I said last year that while Indian economy will do well and US will hold okay in terms of shocks, I said that Chinese economy will do bad last year, and that indeed happened. But this year, I expect that Chinese economy will stabilize. By the way, talking about economy, some people asked about crypto. I said last year that it may be a good year for crypto, but that did not pan out. Crypto actually kind of crashed during that last year. So really, I don't have a basis for predicting things like crypto. We have to basically extrapolate what we know. In general, when Ketu is in Libra in the past, Libra is the sign of marketplace, and when Ketu, the unpredictable planet, is in Libra, some new technologies were adopted for currency or market transactions, etc. So that is why I expected that crypto will take off, but that did not happen. So I don't really have a good basis to make predictions on crypto. So I will let that go. If I can think of something that makes sense, I will make a video later on crypto. As far as Russia is concerned, the Ukraine war, last year I said that in the last spring, May time frame, there was a window of opportunity for peace that did not pan out. After that, in June, I made a video and I said that till the new year, till 2023, there's no hope. And I said that in spring 2023, there is a window of opportunity for peace, and that is indeed true. I still think that there is a window of opportunity for peace in the spring, in the March, April, May time frame. So there can be some peace deal made in this period, but I don't think that this peace may last long. After a few months, things may resume, the hostilities may resume. In general, even if the peace with Ukraine happens and sustains, I expect that Russia is likely to be involved in conflicts for a couple of years. So my best expectation is, of course, astrology is just a probabilistic science. We can't be sure about anything. But my best guess is that there will be some peace deal in the coming few weeks, but after a few months, they will go back to hostilities. And in a recent video that I made on 2020 to 2040, I talked about this in more detail. I said that till 2024 or early 2025, the war will continue, and then Russia will have some big gains in 2025. So you can refer to that video for more long-term view. And in general, Russia will remain aggressive in Eurasia, in the Europe and Asia area. And Russian economy will be fine. There won't be any, I said a year back itself that all the sanctions will be useless. So the sanctions on Russia will not really have the desired effect. Russia will do business with China and other friendly countries, and they will be fine. Now let's talk about India's neighbours, Pakistan. The economic and political instability, I mentioned last year that there will be economic and political instability in Pakistan, and indeed the last year has been really bad for them, and I'm afraid that will worsen during this year. I don't see any light at the end of tunnel for Pakistan. This will prolong for a long time. And I will try to make a video on Pakistan, dedicated to Pakistan later. But one thing I want to say is I don't expect a war with India this year. Again, in the latest video that I made, I tried to give some insight on that, by the way. You can refer to that. And Bangladesh, surprisingly, their economy will be more stable than other neighbors of India. They will be pretty fine. And Sri Lanka, the foreign aid that Sri Lanka is receiving may not work effectively, And this is a year of continued struggle and social unrest for Sri Lanka, unfortunately. And for Nepal, there'll be serious economic troubles this year. Whatever happened in Sri Lanka, whatever is happening in Pakistan, has a potential to happen in Nepal during this year. And also there can be deep socio-political unrest in Nepal this year. And India, instead of jumping to their help immediately, India may wait and watch a little bit. In Iran, as far as Iran is concerned, I expect that there will be increased cooperation with China and Russia during this year. And I also expect in general that Iran will have better relations with several other nations, not necessarily US, but several other nations. And their diplomacy will, this is a good year for Iranian diplomacy. But the problem is internally, the socio-political unrest that started last year will continue this year. And in Israel, the political turbulence that we have been seeing, which I also mentioned in the last year's video, will continue during this year. And there will be increased militant attacks in Israel this year, and also increased tensions with some neighboring nations. And one point I want to make is, for the long term, this is very important. This year we will see increased cooperation with India. And Saudi Arabia, one thing I want to point out is, I see some unexpected economic troubles. We don't expect any economic troubles in Saudi Arabia, but for some reason there will be some financial troubles during this year for Saudi Arabia. That is what I astrologically see. Let's come to Europe. In Europe, in UK, economy will be stabilizing. We will have a stabilizing economy, and the leadership will be very strong and decisive. And still, in spite of those, there will be rising discontent in the nation. And in France and Germany, there will be mounting social unrest. Things will be very, very unstable in France and Germany. In Australia, there will be increased military tensions with China. So in general, Australia will be very restless with respect to China, and there is a possibility of a major natural disaster. And I think Australian economy will hold very well during this year. There will be shocks, volatility, but it will hold pretty well. And in Japan, there will be social unrest on the rise during this year, and Japan will get some geopolitical prominence during this year. And Canada will have some strong leadership during this year, but also some economic problems. Canada will do a little worse than US economically during this year. Now, I will identify some particularly good or bad transits for various rasis and try to suggest some remedies for that, and you can use those. And I want to make a few generic and high level points when it comes to praying to gods. A devata one can feel some attachment to is the ideal devata for somebody to worship. If I suggest, suppose you are a Vaishnava and you don't want to worship Shiva, I say worship Shiva or Dakshinamurti. You don't have to, because you may not have any attachment or any feeling, because sadhana works because of feeling in your sadhana. So feel free to ignore whatever I or other astrologers suggest and use a devata that you have attachment to. Most of the high level devatas like Ganesha, Lakshmi, Vishnu, Shiva, Parvati, Durga, Lalita, they can, Hanuman, Subramanya, Narasimha, they can solve any problem and they can give any good results. So irrespective of your horoscope, irrespective of the planet, you can worship the devata that you have attachment to. But if you are open, then take the advice. And then there are small mantras and there are long mantras. For example, for Vishnu, you can do Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram, or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or Om Namo Narayanaya, or Om Vishnave Namaha. There are a lot of options. Really small mantras, sometimes just single bija mantras, as well as long prayers. Now, some people have good focus. So for them, picking a small mantra and just repeating it and getting lost in it may be a good idea. Whereas some people don't have good focus. Their mind keeps getting distracted on a continual basis. For them, if you do a long prayer, then you have to basically consciously keep looking at the text and go to the next one. So there is some anchor point for your mind. So long prayers may work for that person. In general, Rishis are very compassionate. They gave lot of options because loko bhinna ruchi. People have different taste and different aptitudes. So for different people, different things work. So it's not necessary that one thing is superior to the other thing. It was never, whether it comes to devatas or mantras, it was never about superiority and inferiority for our rishis. It was always about people coming from different places, so giving them different paths from where they are. So pick the one that is working better for you. And some people pick a count. I want to do this mantra 108 times. But the thing is, instead of having a count and forcing yourself to do for a long time and not enjoying it, doing it mechanically, if you do it with a feeling, it is more effective. I know I said this many times, but there is a simple analogy. If you tell your father or mother or wife or husband, I love you, you just say, I love you. That is more effective than saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's not how many times you say it, but it's basically what you feel when you say it and what the other person feels. So it is good to do counts and force some discipline, because if you are not disciplined, it helps. But eventually try to basically not get stuck in mechanical doing of sadhana with discipline. Try to develop some feeling in what you're doing. That is more important if you ask me. And as I said, enjoyment and doing versus mechanical, there is a clash between them. You have to strike the balance. If you basically want to enjoy, you will never do anything. You will just remain lazy. So you have to basically mechanically do and force yourself, but at the same time, you have to find a way to start deriving some enjoyment. So it's always a balance between the Pingal Nadi and Ida Nadi, between solar channel and lunar channel, between the push instinct and the pullback instinct. And do pujas work? Well, fruits of the karmas that you have done in the past can be postponed. You can alter the karmic pipeline through sadhana, and you can postpone the results of some undesirable karmas. So it does work. But even if you are unable to postpone the result that you are getting for your previous karma, you can at least create a state of mind where you are accepting that fruit with equanimity. So sadhana will create a state of mind where if something bad is happening to you, you are at least calm, accept it, and then don't do further bad things which compound the bad results for you. So normally when we receive the karma phala for previous karmas, we resist it and we end up doing further bad karmas, and that compounds our karmic pipeline. So at least that benefit is there. You can basically have some peace of mind. So it is useful to do sadhana, whether or not you see results. You will see result at some point or the other anyway. Nothing goes waste in the cosmos. Now let us go through various rasis and identify various planets that are particularly good or bad. So this form, Murti, there are 4 different forms. Swarnamurti is very good. If a planet is Swarnamurti or golden form, it gives result very easily. If a planet is Rajatmurti or silver form, it gives results with some effort. If a planet is Copper Murti or Kansya Murti, Tambra Murti, it gives result with lot of effort. If it's Lohamurti or iron form, it gives result with lot of effort. So basically good, very good, good, bad, and very bad. So that's the classification. So I'll go through each rasi now. For Mesha Rasi people, Guru is Saturn is in the 11th house. So this is a particularly good transit for them. Labhasani will give material gains, but he's a Tamramurti, he's a copper form. So it may not be happening easily. So it requires a lot of sadhana. So for Shani in the 11th house, I suggest worshipping Venkateshwara. Particularly on Saturdays, if you worship Lord Venkateshwara, it can give you material gains. And if there are some health problems, it may be because of Rahu, health problems or anxiety, etc. It may be because of Rahu in Janmarasi as a Lohamurti. So after December 14, it may get better. But for that, worship Durga. If there are any health problems or mental health problems, worship Durga. And if there are any relationship problems, it may be because of Ketu in the 7th house. So worship Ganesha for relationship problems. And after December 14, Ketu will be in the 6th house as a Rajamurti. So things that problems that have been plaguing you for a while, you may be able to overcome them, and worshipping Ganesha may help you further with that. So this is for Mesh Rasi people. Ashwini, Bharani and Kritika first padam. Next, Vrishabha Rasi people. Taurus are Kritika second, third and fourth padam. Rohini and Mrigasira first and second padam. For them, Guru, till April 17, this is very short, so let's ignore it. Saturn is in the 10th house as the Rajadamurti. So if there is some slowdown in career, if you are experiencing it, it may be because of Shani in the Karmasthanam. So for that, for Shani in the 10th house, I suggest chanting Vishwasnama Stotram. That can help. And till December 14, Ketu is in the 6th house as a Swarnamurti. So even without any pujas, some of the obstacles that you had for a long time may be being overcome during the last year or so. So if that's not happening, worship Ganesha to overcome your obstacles and make progress in things. And after December 14, Rahu will be in the 11th house. So there is a chance of material gains. But he is an iron form, Lohamurti. So he may not be giving those results. So some worship of Durga, Mother Durga, can give lot of material gains during this period. For Mithuna Rasi people, are Mrigasira third and fourth padam, Adra, Punarvasu first, second and third padam. For those people, Guru is in the 10th house. Okay, this is very short time, so we'll just ignore it. Guru will be in the 11th house of gains as a Rajadamurti after April 17th. So, Jupiter can give material gains during this time. And if that is not happening naturally, automatically, you can worship Sadashiva. And worshipping of Sadashiva or Jagannatha can give you financial gains during this period. And Shani is in the 9th house. So if your father is having some health problems or some issues relating to father or issues relating to your immigration, it may be because of Shani in the 9th house. And chanting Vishwasnama Stotram or worshipping Venkateswara can be helpful. Until December 14, Rahu is in the 11th house of gains. So he can give you material gains, but it may be being blocked because he is a Tamramurti. So if you worship Durga till December 14, it can give you material gains. And if you see any slowdown in career after December 14, it may be because of Rahu in the 10th house of career. So, and as a Tamramurti. So if you see some slowdown in career after December 14, worship Durga to improve your career. And if you are seeing any problems relating to children, like your children not getting married or not studying well, etc., any problems relating to children, it may be because of Ketu in the Putrasthanam right now, as a after December 14 this is. Right now. So right now, if you are seeing any problems relating to children, it may be because of Ketu in the 5th house as a Tamramurti. So worshipping Ganesha can give you some progress with respect to children. And if your mother is facing some problems after December 14, it may be because of Ketu in the 4th house. So worship Ganesha to help your mother during that time. For Karka Rasi or Cancer sign people, which is Punosu 4th Padam, Pushyami and Ashrasha, for them, Jupiter will be in the 10th house as a Lohamurti. So this is not a good time for career. So to make sure that your career is fine after April 17, you first of all don't be a wise ass at your workplace. Basically lie low in your workplace. Jupiter in 10th makes you overact, and basically people may not appreciate. They may see you as a wise ass and it may be against you. So lie low during this period. And in terms of worship, for Jupiter in the 10th house, you can worship Jagannatha. And Saturn is very bad for you. Saturn is in the 8th house of anxiety and is a Lohamurti. So for the last year or so, if you are experiencing lot of anxiety, tension, etc., it is actually not last year, for the last few months. It is because of Shani, Ashtama Shani. So it is a very good idea to do either Mrityunjay Mantra or Rudra Chamakam or Hanuman Chalisa. Actually Hanuman Chalisa may be the best, because Mars is also your Karka for Karka Rasi. So try Hanuman Chalisa every day a few times, every day 3 times, every day 11 times, like that. Of course, if you are not feeling any anxiety, let's not jinx it. May it remain like that. And if you are facing any problems in career right now, for the last year or so, it may be because of Dasima Rahu in the 10th house of career as a Rajadamurti. So worshipping of Durga is helpful for career. And if your mother is facing some health problems, it may be because of Ketu in the 4th house of mother. So worshipping Ganesha can help. And after December 14, if your father is facing any health problems or any problems in general, it may be because of Rahu in the 9th house, and worshipping Durga can help. And Ketu will be in the 3rd house as a Swarnamurti. So even without any prayers, you may find initiative and your projects may take off after December 14. And if it doesn't happen organically, try worshipping Ganesha. Then your projects will take off. Things on hold will basically be going smoothly. For Simha Rasi people are Leo sign, which is Magha, Puraphalguni and Uttaraphalguni first padam. For them, Jupiter will be in the 9th house. That is good for Bhagyodayam, for your fortune to bloom. But he's a Tamramurti. So for your fortune to bloom, I recommend worshipping Sadashiva or Jagannatha or Dakshinamurti. And if there are any relationship problems for the last few months, it may be because of Saturn in the 7th house of relationship. So for that, I suggest doing Vishwasnama Stotram or worshipping Vishnu in general. And Ketu is till December 14, Ketu is in the 3rd house. So again, any work that is stuck for a long time, that can take off. So if that's not happening, it may be because of Ketu is a Lohamurti. So worship Ganesha, then your work will take off. And after December 14, if Rahu in the 8th house can give anxiety, accidents, etc. So to protect yourself, worship Durga. Until December 14, if your father is facing any problems, it may be because of Rahu in the 9th house of father as a Lohamurti. So worshipping Durga can help your father. And after December 14, worshipping Durga can help your anxiety, etc. For Kanya or Virgo sign people, Jupiter will be in the 8th house as a Swarnamurti till after April 17. So if you are facing any anxiety, it may be because of Guru Chandal Yoga. Even though Guru is Swarnamurti, Rahu in the Ashtama is Tamramurti. So the Guru Chandal Yoga in the Ashtama can give you a lot of anxiety and maybe some accidents, ill health, etc. So to protect yourself from that, for Guru Chandal Yoga in the 8th house, I recommend worshipping either Durga or doing Aditya Hridayam. And if there are any relationship problems after December 14, it may be because of Rahu in the 7th house. So worshipping Durga can be helpful for that. And if there are any health problems, particularly undiagnosable weird health problems after December 14, it may be because of Janma Ketu as a Lohamurti. So worshipping Ganesha can give you some reprieve from those health problems. And by the way, one really good transit for you is Shani in the Shashta Shani, 6th house Shani, but he's a Tamramurti. So overcoming obstacles and making progress, etc. are not, if they are not happening by themselves, you can worship Shani directly, Shanideva directly, or Venkateshwara or Hanuman. You can worship them to overcome problems and obstacles, health problems and other problems in your works and make progress during this year. Then Tula Rasi are Libra sign people, which is, by the way, Kanya was Uttar Phalguni 2nd, 3rd, 4th padam, Hasta and Chitra 1st and 2nd padam. So Tula, Chitra 3rd and 4th padam, Swati and Vishaka 1st, 2nd and 3rd padam. For them, one good thing is Guru will be in the 7th house as a Rajadamurti after April 17. So there is a chance of marital happiness, marital bliss increasing, marital relationships in general improving. And if somebody is not married, getting married is a possibility. So to maximize that, you can worship Guru Graha directly, or you can worship Jagannatha or Sadashiva. And if there are any child related problems during this year. It may be because of Putrasthana Shani, and for that I suggest doing Vishwasnama Stotram. And if there are any relationship problems till December 14, it may be even though Guru is in the 7th house, Rahu is also in the 7th house. So if it seems like you are getting married but things stop at the end, or if there are some marital tensions, worship Durga. And if there are any health problems till December 14, it may be because of Ketu in the 1st house of health. So worshipping Ganesha can help. And after December 14, Rahu is in the 6th house. So worshipping Durga can make you overcome your obstacles and make progress in your projects. Vrishchika Rasi or Scorpio sign people, which is, for them, Shani is in the 4th house of Sukham. So it shows Sukhalopam. There won't be a mental peace or any sense of comfort, any sense of clear direction. You feel like you are lost in life. And if you are feeling that for the last couple of months, it is because of Sukhaseni, Ardhashtama and he's a Lohamurti too. So I strongly recommend worshipping Hanuman or doing Mrityunjay mantra. That will really help you. Until December 14, Rahu is in the 6th house. So worshipping Durga can give you success in your efforts, overcoming obstacles, etc. and overcoming health problems and all those things with Durga's worship. And after December 14, if there are any child-related problems, not getting children or children not doing well in life, for that also the worship of Durga is useful, because Rahu will be in the 5th house of children, and Ketu will be in the 11th house of material gains after December 14. So worshipping Ganesha after December 14 will give you financial gains. For Dhanu Rasi people, by the way, Vrishchika was Visakha 2nd, 3rd and 4th Padam, Anuradha and Jyeshtha. Yeah. No. Visakha 4th Padam, Anuradha and Jyeshtha, sorry. And Dhanus is Mula, Purashada and Uttarashada 1st Padam. For them, Guru will be in the 5th house, but as a Tamramurti after April 17. So it is a good year for children or childbirth, etc. So for getting children, or if you already have children, for their benefits, you can worship Sadasiva or Jagannatha during this year, and that can, or Guru Graha directly, and that can give you happiness with respect to children. And Saturn is in the 3rd house. So to get initiative and for your works and projects to take off, worshipping Venkateshwara is very auspicious during this year, particularly on Saturdays. And if there are any children related problems, it may be because of Rahu in the 5th house of children. So worshipping of Durga can be helpful. And if there is any slowdown in career after December 14, it may be because of Ketu in the 10th house of career. So worshipping Ganesha can help you with career. And if your mother is facing any problems after December 14, it may be because of Rahu in the 4th house of mother. So worshipping Durga can be helpful to your mother during that time. For Makara Rasi people, Capricorn sign, which is Uttarashada 2nd, 3rd, 4th Padam, Shravanam, Dhanishta 1st and 2nd Padam. For them, Guru will be in the 4th house of Sukham after April 17. So that is auspicious, but Rahu will be with him. So Guru Chandala Yoga in the Sukhasthanam can give you Sukhalopa. In other words, not having peace of mind, feeling lost in life. And if that is happening to you, it may be because of Guru Chandala Yoga. So I suggest either worshipping Durga or also Aditya Hridayam can help. And your 7.5 years of Saturn is still going on, but this may not be the worst 1/3 in your 7.5 years of Saturn in your Sadesati. But still, if you are facing some Saturn problems, some anxiety, etc., or financial problems, etc., I suggest chanting Mrityunjay mantra or Rudra Chamakam or Hanuman Chalisa. And if your mother is facing any problems or you don't have a peace of mind, you can worship Durga for that. And if you are having any career problems, slow down in career and some mistakes happening in career or being blocked in career till December 14, the Devata to worship is Ganesha, because it is Ketu. And also after December 14, worship of Durga will increase your initiative and things can take off for you. And if your father is facing any health problems after December 14, for next 1.5 years, it may be because of Ketu in the 9th house, and worshipping Ganesha can be helpful. And for Kumbha Rasi people, Guru will be in the 3rd house. Okay, Janma Shani is going on. Shani is a Rajata Murti, so Janma Shani is still going on. So I suggest doing Mrityunjay Mantra or Rudra Chamakam or Hanuman Chalisa regularly. There will be some anxiety as a backdrop of your life. And Rahu is in the 3rd house till December 14. So you can worship Mother Durga to overcome your laziness and have initiative to do things during this year and for your projects to take off. If your father is facing any health problems before December 14, it may be because of Ketu in the 9th house of father. Worship Ganesha for that. And if you are feeling some anxiety or indescribable worry about something, or to avoid the possibility of getting into some accidents etc. after December 14, worship Ganesha regularly. Ashtamaketu can be problematic. Finally, by the way, Kumbha Rasi was Dhanishta 3rd and 4th Padam, Satabhishak, and Purabhadra 1st, 2nd and 3rd Padam. Finally, Meena Rasi are Pisces people, which is Purabhadra 4th Padam, Uttarabhadra and Revati. For them, Guru will be in the 2nd house of wealth after April 17. So that is a good time financially. But he's a Lohamurti, iron form. So you need to worship a lot to get the results. So I suggest worshipping either Guru Graha or Jagannatha or Sadashiva. And 7.5 years of Saturn is going on. It actually started a couple of months back, and this may be the worst phase. So strongly recommend doing Mrityunjay Mantra or Chamakam or Hanuman Chalisa on a regular basis. And just hang in there. Things don't always stay the same, good or bad. And then to compound 12th house Saturn, Ketu is in the 8th house till December 14. So there is Ketubadha also. So worshipping Ganesha also can be helpful for giving some peace of mind. Basically removing some of the anxiety, or not removing but alleviating the anxiety. And if you are having some health problems after December 14, it may be because of Janma Rahu. So worshipping of Durga can help with health problems. And after December 14, if there are any relationship problems, it may be because of Ketu in the 7th house of marriage. So for that, worshipping Ganesha can be helpful. It can alleviate tensions in the marriage. So these are, again, you have to take these with a pinch of salt. These are generic guidelines. If something has a probability of 1 over 10 million in general, for a particular Rasi people, it may be 1 over 10,000 or 1 over 100,000. So it is much more likely for that sign, but it doesn't mean it's happening for everybody with that sign. So you have to basically take it with a pinch of salt. It's your own horoscope that really controls things, but these are generic gross level macro guidelines. And if you are particularly seeing some patterns that are consistent with what I said, then you can do the remedies that I mentioned. And in the end, I hope that you all find some peace, in your own way, find some peace and happiness in an increasingly turbulent world. And this turbulence will keep increasing over the decade and culminate with something major in 2030, 2031. So you just have to find a way to find your core and be happy and peaceful in a turbulent world. So I hope that you all manage to do that, and may the world move in the direction of dharmic and sustainable peace. And again, Happy New Year Shobhana or Shobhakrit to all of you. One thing I forgot to mention is the layoffs and job cuts that are happening recently. I don't expect them to get bigger and result in a crisis. I expect that unemployment will be under control and things will pick up later this year. And again, Happy New Year, Shobhana, Shobhakrit. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu यावत् भूमण्डले सनातनधर्मो वर्धतु, विशेषतः भरतखण्डे, अमेरिकावर्षे, टिबेट् राष्ट्रे च। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Thank you very much.